Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, June 15th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a very, very busy day. A lot going on. I'm getting ready to head to Atlanta for the 9th annual Juneteenth Festival, Music Parade and Festival. Friday, June 18th through Sunday, June 20th. So, on yesterday's show, we talked about the National Day of Action. Monday's show, we talked about the National Day of Action that took place on Saturday, June 12th, and teachers across the country participated in this National Day of Action. And it was created by the Zen Education Project. And this was geared around, this was sparked by the bills that are being pushed by Republicans in Republican-dominated state legislatures and going into effect to restrict what teachers can teach about racism, systemic racism, etc., slavery, things like this. We've been talking about critical race theory here on the show. The Saturday, June 12th, many teachers across the country made a pledge to teach the truth, teach the real history, teach the truth. They said they're not going to lie to students. Several thousand teachers have signed a pledge that says, we, the undersigned educators, refuse to lie to young people about U.S. history and current events, regardless of the law. We've been talking about critical race theory here on this show and understanding how this deals with analyzing how laws and policies are used and have been historically used to oppress non-white people in this country, and how to better understand that and how to correct that, how to correct the laws. So there was this big piece from NBC News today that deals with how critical race theory, the critical race theory battle is invading school boards, okay, when we deal with education. It's invading school boards of education. And oftentimes, this effort is being helped by different conservative groups at a local level and a national level. There's about 165 of them. So you have conservative dark money that's helping to finance this effort. They're putting pressure on school boards. And one of the things that they're doing is they are running for seats on the school board. As you have people who resign off of school boards, you have conservatives who are running to fill those seats on school boards so they can further control what's being taught in schools. Now, when they're crying about critical race theory being taught in school, basically they're lying, because critical race theory is not being taught in school. Some of you all saw Roland Martin Unfiltered today. Roland had dumbass Keisha on. She's been on Fox News, and what she said, what she's calling critical race theory, is not critical race theory. This is what we're seeing take place. So critical race theory attacks are being funded by conservative dark money groups. And this goes back to September 2020. Now, see, we have to be clear on this, okay? Republicans don't have policies that they're pushing in general that are beneficial to everyday Americans, not even the people who vote to put them in office. So what are they doing? They're lying about critical race theory. They're attacking the 1619 Project. Okay. You got Tim Cotton. Senator Tim Cotton just introduced a bill. He wants to defund federal funding to teach 1619 project in schools, things like this. They don't have policies. They got 380, almost 400 bills in state legislatures, voter restriction bills. They don't have policies that they're pushing that are actually beneficial in general for people. Okay, so they have these culture war issues. This is their game, and this is all geared towards the 2022 midterm elections, when a lot of people go to sleep and think midterm elections are not important. Oh, yes, they are. You got it's over 20 seats in the U.S. Senate up for re-election, and all 435 seats in the House of Representatives are up for re-election. Midterm elections are extremely important. Problem is, oftentimes we don't understand how important midterm elections are. So this is all geared towards ginning up their base on midterm elections, dealing with culture wars because they don't have any policies that are beneficial that they're pushing. Okay, and that's what this is about. When you look at Fox News, there was a piece from Mediaite that came out today, and it deals with Fox News. Fox News has mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months. Critical race theory has been around for 40 years. What's that about? Fox News has mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months. Critical race theory has been around for 40 years. They act like they discovered something. What is this about? This is about 2022 midterm elections. Republicans are trying to take back the House of Representatives. They're trying to take back the U.S. Senate. They're trying to keep bills from being passed. And we just heard from the Grim Reaper himself yesterday, who said that if Republicans take back the Senate, that he was going to block President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominations, like he blocked Merrick Garland in 2016 under President Obama. And they want to block any federal judges that Biden nominates, just like they blocked 103 federal judges in Federal Court of Appeals for Obama in the last 2 years, when Republicans took back control of the Senate because we didn't understand how important the Senate was. So this is the game that's being played right now. I want to bring up this big article here from NBC News. There's 17 pages. I printed it out. Critical race theory battle invades school boards with help from conservative groups. This is dark money behind this. Now, you got Simple Simon ass people running around telling us don't vote. We should ask who's funding them. We should ask who's funding the black people who keep telling us don't vote. While there's a concerted effort to suppress the African American vote with voter restriction bills, and then another attack on the type of history that can be taught in schools. Whoever controls the teaching of the past will control the trajectory of the future. So not only is there a concerted effort to fund attacking what can be taught in schools, there's a concerted effort and a well-financed effort to suppress and determine who can actually vote for what will be taught in schools. This article here, this is by Tyler Kincaid, Brandy Zadronsky, and Ben Collins for NBC News. June 15, 2021. It's 17 pages. I printed it out because that's what I do. I read these articles. Critical race theory battle invades school boards with help from conservative groups. In towns nationwide, well-connected conservative activists and Fox News have ramped up the tension in fights over race and equity in schools. Fox News is helping with this. Now, we spend dollars with corporations that advertise on Fox News. We're financing our own dehumanization. We're going to have to put pressure on corporations that advertise with Fox News, just like we had to put pressure on them to put pressure on state legislatures that are passing these voter restriction bills. That's another coordinated effort. We're going to talk about that. Now, this is an article from Mediaite. This is Keisha. Okay, she was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today. You heard her in the clip that I played. She dealing with Florida, and Florida passing the Florida State Board of Education passing the rule banning critical race theory, even though critical race theory is not taught in schools in Florida. They're not teaching critical race theory in Florida. You just have people just calling anything dealing with race critical race theory. No, that's not critical race theory. Fox News has mentioned, Fox has mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months, with mentions doubling month over month. The critical race theory boogeyman is exploding on Fox News. Well, they got a lot of white supremacists over on Fox News. What do you expect? That's Trump TV. Critical race theory, to those who can actually define it, and most of these conservatives can't define it, is an academic and legal framework that examines the impact of systemic racism on American society. They don't want to deal with systemic racism because they're lying and saying systemic racism doesn't exist, most of them. Like Senator Lindsey Graham, who then attacked the $4 billion in debt loan forgiveness and loan forgiveness for African American farmers and Hispanic farmers and farmers of color. He called it reparations. He said it's racist, and he called it reparations. He said that on Fox News, white nationalist TV, Fox News, the Fox News Network, white nationalist TV. For conservatives, however, it's the latest boogeyman they can use to scare people into thinking Americans' children are being indoctrinated by quote unquote woke leftist teachers. Now, some of these same white people complaining are some of the same people who have Confederate battle flags. They were some of the same people to show up to NASCAR races with Confederate battle flags. They're some of the same people who didn't want Trump. Well, most of them voted for Trump. 1, 2, didn't want Trump to change the names of military bases named after Confederate traitors. They call them Confederate heroes, but they were actually traitors to the Union. They took up arms, committed treason based upon Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution. These are traitors to the Union. Critical for conservatives, however, I don't know what they're trying to conserve. Critical race theory is the latest boogeyman they can use to scare people into thinking America's children are being indoctrinated by quote unquote woke leftist teachers. And while that is not even remotely the case, this idea is exploding on Fox News, Trump TV, and in Republican state legislatures, leading to legislative bans in many states and skyrocketing mentions of critical race theory on the network, on Fox News. So they have this chart here. Fox News mentions of critical race theory. It tripled. Over the past 3.5 months, they've mentioned it 1,300 times. Critical race theory has been around for 40 years. As Media Matters has previously noted, Fox News' current obsession with critical race theory has been a year in the making. Oh, you mean this was planned? You mean this didn't just fall out the sky? You mean this was planned? What once was a slow trickle of monthly mentions has developed into a full-blown assault. Since February 2021, month-over-month mentions of the theory have more than doubled on Fox News as the network has begun to spin an illusion of what it is, of what critical race theory is, and where it's being taught. In reality, critical race theory is not generally taught in K through 12. Coverage of the theory sharply increased in March 2021 with 107 mentions on the network, according to data from Connecticut, Kinetiq, Media Monitoring Service. The following month, network figures and guests mentioned it 226 times. And by May 2021, the number had increased to 537 mentions. Now, this is the same network where you got hosts who are downplaying the insurrection because some of them incited it. This is white nationalist TV right now that's taking place. We're going to deal with this on the other side of the break. We'll also talk about Juneteenth becoming a national holiday. The Senate passed the bill. Even when white supremacists like Ron Johnson didn't object to it because he knew it would be bad for business. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Kemeticwear.com is the go-to online source for Kemetic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Kemeticwear.com is inspired by KemeticScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at Kemeticwear.com.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation.
910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. And we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. All right. So we're going to talk about, right before the break, we started dealing with this big story from NBC News. Critical race theory battle invades school boards with help from conservative groups. There's dark money behind this. And then also, I was talking about this piece from Mediaite that shows how the mentions of critical race theory have increased by 3.5-fold on Fox News over the past. Well, it's increased by, let me see. They've mentioned it nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months. They mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months. Okay. Which is a huge increase for them. Critical race theory has been around for 40 years. But this is all geared toward the 2022 midterm races, ginning up their base because they have a shrinking base. People are not flocking to join the Republican Party. They have a shrinking base. Okay. And we know white people have a negative birth rate in 26 states out of 50. That's not me. That's the U.S. Census Bureau, June 2018. White people have a negative birth rate in 26 states out of 50. The Republican Party is overwhelmingly white. So not only is it a shrinking party because people are leaving the party because of Trump and the insurrection that took place January 6th, but also people are dying as well. That's before COVID. That was before COVID. All right. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Let's keep doing the research down the air, keep broadcasting 6 days a week, because I'm here 6 days a week. We are Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then I'll be in Atlanta for the Juneteenth Festival. I'll be speaking there, so this will help me get to and from Atlanta because I have to pay my way to Atlanta, pay my way back. So this helps us stay on the air, keep broadcasting, cover some of the bills. And it's $ the AHN Show through Cash App. These other ones here are fake. Somebody set them up. They've been stealing money from us, so I already reported them. Ours, my name, it shows my name, Michael, and it shows my picture there. Okay. All right, and then we'll talk about Juneteenth becoming the Senate, the U.S. Senate voted today to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Next, it goes to the House of Representatives. It's expected to pass the House since Democrats are in the majority in the House. And then has to be signed into law by President Joe Biden. So we're going to talk about Juneteenth a little bit. And I'll be doing two fantastic Juneteenth presentations in Atlanta. I'm speaking there Saturday and Sunday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the amphitheater. And the whole festival is free and open to the public. But Juneteenth is about to become a national holiday, but we have to correct the history because there's some misunderstandings about Juneteenth. Okay. And I'll be doing I'm doing a new Juneteenth presentation. It's about 2 hours, something like that. So we'll have that available Wednesday. It'll be on our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll send out an email blast so you can order it. We'll have it on DVD and digital download. So let's go back to this here. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. So we do with a number of different topics here. We deal with current events, history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, the 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, if we go back to this piece here from Media Matters. This is Media Matters, not Mediaite. Media Matters. Fox has mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months, with mentions doubling month over month. The critical race theory boogeyman is exploding on Fox News. This is from June 15th also. So coverage of the theory sharply increased in March with 107 mentions on the net on Fox News, according to data from Kinetic Media Monitoring Service. The following month, network figures and guests mentioned it 226 times. In May, the number increased to 537 mentions. Not even halfway through June, there has already been 408 mentions on Fox News. Now, just last week, Fox mentioned critical race theory a record 244 times, an increase from the previous record high of 170 mentions the week before. So you have to ask the question, what is all this about? Well, I already know what it's all about. I'm telling you. Now, Fox News has admitted its reason for this souped up coverage. The 2022 midterm elections. Oh, but I thought it didn't vote. I thought it didn't matter who you voted for. Why are they worried about the 2022 midterm elections? Why are they so worried about that? Why are they so worried about promoting the big lie and passing these voter restriction bills? Why are Republicans writing these voter restriction bills and pushing to pass these voter restriction bills if it doesn't matter who you vote for? Why don't they just let us vote? It's the same thing that happened in Mississippi in 1890 at the Mississippi State Convention. What did Judge Calhoun say? What did Judge Calhoun say? He said we're here to exclude the Negro. Let me pull that one up. We still have it up. I think I still have that article up. This was the plan in Mississippi to keep African Americans from voting. It's called the Mississippi Plan. The Mississippi Plan. Hold on, let me pull that one back up. We came here to exclude the Negro. This is the same thing, except they're not saying it outright. That was an article from the Washington Post. the Mississippi Plan. This one right here. The Mississippi Plan to keep blacks from voting in 1890. Quote, we came here to exclude the Negro. We came here to exclude the Negro. This is from May 1st, 2021. We've talked about this here. Those that haven't seen this, go read this article. This deals with the Mississippi State Convention of 1890, where they voted on the Mississippi State Constitution. And in the Mississippi State Constitution, they had clauses in there that made legal poll taxes and literacy tests. The convention's president, Solomon Saladin Calhoun, no, that's a Southern name, a white county judge, put the voting issue bluntly. He made it plain. He said, quote, let's tell the truth if it bursts the bottom of the universe, end quote. He said, we came here to exclude the Negro. Nothing short of this will answer. Now, delegates eventually adopted a literacy test and a poll tax geared to suppress the African American vote in a state that had a majority of black people, Mississippi. They said we came here to exclude the Negro. The Mississippi Plan became the model throughout the South, part of a raft of racially oppressive Jim Crow laws that ended Reconstruction in 1877. Well, Calhoun had children. These people had children, and their children had children. And their children had children. And many of them are in state legislatures right now. Many of them are involved in attacking critical race theory, attacking the right to vote. This is what we're dealing with now. Now, if you don't understand history, think all this stuff ended in 1965, you're the type of idiot they love to deal with because you can easily be fooled. So this is geared towards the 2022 midterm election. Let's go back to Media Matters right quick. Then I want to get into this article here from NBC News. Fox has admitted its reason for its souped up coverage of critical race theory, the 2022 midterm elections, they said. And in order to drum up outrage, the network has repeatedly amplified a lie that critical race theory teaches one race is inherently superior to another race. Now, if they keep telling that lie, this is a phrase called a hit dog will holler. Is it because they subconsciously, tacitly think they are superior? And they don't want you to teach that because then that draws attention to the fact that subconsciously, tacitly, they think they are, or superior, think they are superior. The network has repeatedly amplified a lie that critical race theory teaches one race is inherently superior to another race. That's not what it teaches. Now, people who are white supremacists believe that they are superior. More recently, in its continued efforts to demonize critical race theory, Fox News has promoted a pamphlet that echoes the white nationalist Great Replacement conspiracy theory. Fox News' obsession with what it defines as critical race theory has frequently crossed the threshold into the absurd and overly dramatic. Fox host Tucker Carlson, or as Joy Reid calls him, Tuckums, called critical race theory a cult. He's a big Trump supporter. He's calling something a cult. While host Will Cain said it's modern day Jim Crow. Fox contributor Miranda Devine claimed that teaching the theory would, quote, warp the minds of American children, end quote, and is a recipe for social upheaval and mental illness. social upheaval and mental illness. That's what we saw January 6th, the insurrection that Joe guy incited. That's what we saw January 6th. Fox News' Newt Gingrich said it was being driven by, quote, people who want to brainwash your children, end quote. So read this full article here. They may have a clip in here. Keisha has no clue what critical race theory is. If you go watch she was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today. They did like 30 minutes with Keisha. I think Keisha's single too, to tell you the truth, because ain't no brother putting up with that. But anyway, Fox has mentioned critical race theory nearly 1,300 times in the past 3.5 months. June 15th, 2021. Okay, so we got that one. Now, this huge article, this huge piece from NBC News today. Critical race theory battle invades school boards with help from conservative groups. So they talk about this school in Maine. Okay. Jeff Porter, superintendent of a wealthy suburban school district in Maine, had no idea that his community was about to become a national battle when in the summer of 2020, a father began accusing the district of trying to, quote unquote, indoctrinate his children by teaching critical race theory. One, they weren't teaching critical race theory. Two, indoctrinated is one of the buzzwords these people use. Okay. Now, a lot of this is backlash to the protest that took place in June 2020. The Black Lives Matter protests around George Floyd. A lot of this is a white backlash to that. And they've been looking for something to galvanize support because they're losing Republicans. They're dying, and Republican parties are shrinking parties, not growing. We talked about the piece from, when was this? May 10th, 2020, which gives you some background information on how all this bubbled up. How Trump ignited the fight over critical race theory in schools. Republican lawmakers across the country have proposed bills to ban critical race theory in K through 12 schools. Here's what it really means. Read this full article, okay? Because what happened, this goes back to September 2020, when Trump, and see, the whole 1776 project was part of this, because it was the backlash to the 1619 project. But in September 2020, Trump did an executive order that banned it was some type of diversity training in like the military and for federal employees. Okay, that's what really started all of this. Hold on, where is that? It was in September 2020, but that's what really started all this. The proposed policies mimic President Trump's September 2020 memo ordering the Office of Management and Budget to stop funding training on critical race theory for federal employees, calling it a propaganda effort. That's what this goes back to, September 2020. Around the same time, Trump condemned the 1619 project. He actually said he wasn't familiar with the year 1619. He said he knew about 1776. Around the same time he condemned the 1619 project, spearheaded by Nicole Hannah-Jones. And then educators embraced this message and began utilizing the 1619 project and looking for resources to teach a more holistic history for the country. Trump rebuked the 1619 project as a warped, distorted portrayal of American history. Both the memo that he signed and this attack on the 1619 Project sparked the commission of the 1776 Project, meant to combat the contents of the 1619 Project. The countrywide uprisings in the wake of George Floyd's death only fueled the matter, with pundits debating the nation's fraught history of racism. Thus, although President Joe Biden reversed Benedict Donald's initial ban in January, the seed of this rotten tree has been planted. The seed of this rotten tree had been planted. This goes back to September 2020. So read this full article here, how Trump ignited the fight over critical race theory in schools. Now, he probably can't even spell critical race theory. He can't tell you what it is. So let's go back to this. So Superintendent Jeff Porter is dealing with this fight taking place at his school. Now, to Superintendent Jeff Porter, the issue was straightforward. The district had denounced white supremacy. Okay, see, this ties into George Floyd once again. The school district had denounced white supremacy in the wake of George Floyd's murder by police, but did not teach critical race theory. The school district did not teach critical race theory. They just denounced white supremacy, rightfully so. But that set off a firestorm, them denouncing white supremacy. Now, Sean Brarity is a parent, has a child in the school district. He grew increasingly disgruntled and soon connected with an organization called No Left Turn in Education, which is a rapidly growing national group that supports parents as they fight against lessons on systemic racism. Why are you trying to fight against lessons on systemic racism? I thought you would want to teach about systemic racism so we can solve it. Because just putting on a blindfold doesn't make it go away. So why do you have these right-wing conservative groups who want to fight against teaching about systemic racism, unless you're happy with the status quo and you benefit from systemic racism? That action turned a heated conflict with the school board into one that soon drew national attention, mobilized by a new, increasingly coordinated movement with the backing of major conservative organizations and media outlets like Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, Fox News. I want to go to clip one here. This deals with this piece here from NBC News. Clip one is conservative dark money groups disrupt critical race theory debate. Okay, you're going to hear Ben Collins, who was one of the writers of this article. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
Groups are now pushing the critical race theory debate on a local level, a hyper-local level. This comes as at least 4 states have passed legislation banning lessons about race in the classroom, and the number of states considering the ban continues to rise. An NBC News analysis found at least 165 local and national groups are fueling this discussion among parents and teachers. Recent polling from the Heritage Foundation shows nearly 40% of parents don't know what critical race theory is. Another 25% say they are unsure. NBC News senior reporter Ben Collins joins us now with his reporting on this. Ben, good morning. So your article that just came out this morning, I believe, was fascinating, and it takes a closer look at this movement. So first, explain what you mean by these dark money groups for somebody who just is sort of, spooked by that term. And then also walk us through what's actually happening on these school boards. I mean, I know we've seen meetings swarmed by activists, and in some cases, these groups are aiming to take out the whole board. What's happening?
Yeah, so the dark money groups are, coalitions of people backed by what they say are pro bono lawyers, sometimes people funding these initiatives on the local level. So, you might be wondering why this has taken over your town. In a lot of cases, it's from the top down. It's from the national political level down to your town. That's what happened. We covered this happening in Maine, in Cumberland, Maine, where there's a man who's had a year-long fight with their local school district, where he was having this thing called Freedom of Information Act requests filed. Over 54 of them filed against the school district, which allows them to go through their emails and pull out everything they've ever done in that thing. That cost thousands of dollars. That was funded by a national group called No Left Turn in Education. That's not the only one. As you said, there are hundreds of these groups, and there are more school board recalls in the last 6 months, in the first 6 months of this year, than in any other year that it's been tracked.
Now, I know you spoke to a school board member about banning critical race theory. What did you learn?
Well, it's sort of nebulous. If you don't know what critical race theory is, and apparently most Americans don't, it's kind of because that's on purpose. Nobody can really seem to define what it is because it means something different to everyone. Steve Bannon, who used to be very close to Donald Trump, our former president, said that the route to political power now is through the school board, on its way up.
Pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there. Pause it right there.
Because they think that's how they can win power.
Pause it right there. Back it up about 20, 30 seconds. Scruffy Two Shirts, Steve Bannon, who used to be in the White House. Steve Bannon, who came from Breitbart News. Steve Bannon, who called Breitbart the home of the alt-right. Steve Bannon, who was the executive producer of a conspiracy-filled documentary called Clinton Cash, which was based upon a conspiracy-filled book by a man named Peter Schweitzer called Clinton Cash. And Peter Schweitzer used to be a editor for Breitbart News. And Breitbart was founded and heavily funded by Robert Mercer. And Robert Mercer was an early financier of Donald Trump. Lioness Kellyanne Conway, who was a senior advisor to Trump, she used to run Robert Mercer's family super PAC before she came over to the Trump campaign. Steve Bannon, who used to run Breitbart, said the way to political power is through the school board. Steve Bannon, who was being financed by Robert Mercer. Robert Mercer is anti-civil rights. Research Robert Mercer. He was also a very early financial backer of Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign before Sheldon Adelson came on to bankroll Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, even though Trump said he was going to self-finance. He didn't self-finance. Let's go back to this clip.
National political fight that is happening on the local level because they think that's how they can win power back, is to go through sort of like the Tea Party did 10 years ago.
Go back up about a minute. I want you to back up about a minute or so. I want him to talk about Steve Bannon again. Okay, it's important for people to hear this. Steve Bannon is saying the way to political power is taking over the school boards. Go ahead.
Of these groups, and there are more school board recalls in the last 6 months, in the first 6 months of this year, than in any other year that it's been tracked.
Now, I know you spoke to a school board member about banning critical race theory. What did you learn?
Well, it's sort of nebulous. If you don't know what critical race theory is, and apparently most Americans don't, it's kind of because that's on purpose. Nobody can really seem to define what it is because it means something different to everyone. Steve Bannon, who used to be very close to Donald Trump, our former president, said that the route to political power now is through the school board, on its way up. This is a political fight that is happening, a national political fight that is happening on the local level, because they think that's how they can win power back, is to go through sort of like the Tea Party did 10 years ago, is to fight through these local battles, make them extremely viral, and then push them up the chain to places like Fox News.
And now, Ben, I mean, you just mentioned this, you quote Steve Bannon saying that. I mean, help put this in context, though, because it's essentially these tactics that we normally see at the national political level that are playing out in these hyper-local elections. And of course, you have to keep in mind, I mean, really, these have children and their education at the center of them. What kind of implications does this have on other elections?
It can be extremely disruptive. And by the way, like you said, the children are not part of this fight, really, in any capacity. It's local educators, local superintendents, school board administrators, local parents, largely fighting with a much smaller group of people. This was when we were talking about this case in Cumberland, Maine, this was a year-long dogfight over what one small group of parents believed to be the indoctrination of children. It involved a billboard that was booby-trapped of the face of one of the school board administrators. It was a really big, horrific fight for a year. And last week, by the way, it involved Tucker Carlson. It went all the way up to Tucker Carlson through that group, No Left Turn to Education. And last week, the school board member sort of cruised to re-election. This is a small minoritarian fight against a much larger reckoning with race in this country.
Yeah, the rat trap detail around the billboard really got me in your article this morning. Ben, thank you very much. Always good to see you.
Okay. All right. So that's from NBC News Now, June 15, 2021. It said the article here from NBC News is in that clip, and it's on MSNBC.com. Conservative dark money groups disrupt critical race theory debate. This article here, this is from the New Yorker from March 17th, 2017. The reclusive hedge fund tycoon behind the Trump presidency. If you don't know who Robert Mercer is, I don't know where you've been. I've talked about Robert Mercer a number of times. Robert Mercer was an early financier of Trump's 2016 campaign. Okay? He bankrolled him. Robert Mercer is also he's anti-civil rights as well. Read this article from the New Yorker. It's a long article. The reclusive hedge fund tycoon behind the Trump presidency. Robert Mercer also financed Breitbart News. So read the rest of this article also from NBC News. Now, they talk about dark money here. Okay. Critical race theory battle invades school boards with help from conservative groups. They talk about dark money here. Well-connected conservative activists and Fox News, owned by a billionaire, Rupert Murdoch, have ramped up the tension in fights over race and equity in schools. Well, we talk about dark money also in this other piece that we dealt with before here on the show. This is from Mother Jones. This dealt with leaked video. Dark money group brags about writing GOP voter suppression bills across the country. This is Jessica Anderson, who heads up the Heritage Project, which is an arm of the Heritage Foundation. And she was bragging about crafting these voter restriction bills. Now, this video was leaked to Mother Jones. This article is from May 13th, 2021. We've talked about it here on the show before. Wait a second. You have conservative groups that are financing the voter restriction bills and crafting the voter restriction bills that spread through 48 state legislatures. But then you have conservative dark money groups that are financing these attacks on critical race theory at the local school board level. And we're coming up on 2022 midterm elections. All right. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting a few more minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about Juneteenth. If you like this type of information, please support the African History Network. Okay. I'm here 6 days a week now. As I said before, y'all know I do this for free. I don't get paid to do radio. Okay. So this helps out a lot. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep financing the show. This will help me get to and from Atlanta because I got to pay my way to and from Atlanta as well. I'll be in Atlanta Friday, the 18th through Sunday, the 20th at Centennial Olympic Park for the Juneteenth Festival. Okay. And I'll be speaking there Saturday and Sunday, 3 p.m. in the amphitheater. We're out of time here. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. Stand by. All right, let's keep going for a few more minutes. I got a lot of work to do before I can get out of here and go to Atlanta. We may talk some more about this because I'm only on page 2 of the 17-page article, and I'm not going to be able to get through the whole article on the show, but I'm going to post a link here. Go read this. This stuff is serious. These people are crazy. I guarantee you most of these people voted for Donald Trump. I guarantee you most of these people are pushing the big lie also. Okay, this is serious. And we're going to have to take action against Fox. We're going to have to take action against the advertisers of Fox News because these are corporations that we spend dollars with. And so we're financing our own dehumanization. They're taking out ads on Fox News, and Fox News is working in opposition to our interests, supporting the big lie, supporting these voter restriction bills. Okay, so we got that. Read the article from Mother Jones, dealing with the dark money. This one here, we talked about this before. So this is deep because people were wondering, okay, how are these bills popping up so quickly in these state legislatures? It's a coordinated effort. Jessica Anderson, executive director of Heritage Action, said, quote, "We did it quickly and we did it quietly. We did it quickly and we did it quietly." She admitted it. Now, she didn't know, I don't think she knew she was being recorded. In a private meeting last month, so it'll be April because this came out May 13th. I think it was May 13th. May 13th, yeah. In a private meeting last month with big money donors, the head of a top conservative group boasted that her outfit had crafted the new voter suppression law in Georgia, SB 202, and was doing the same thing with similar bills for Republican state legislators across the country. Quote, "In some cases, we actually draft them for them. In some cases, we actually draft them for them. Quote, or we have a sentinel on our behalf give them the model legislation so it has that grassroots from the bottom up type of vibe." End quote. This is what Jessica Anderson said. The Georgia law had 8 key provisions. The Georgia law had 8 key provisions that the Heritage Action wanted. Jessica Anderson, the executive director of Heritage Action for America, a sister organization of the Heritage Foundation, told the foundation's donors at an April 22nd gathering in Tucson, Arizona. In a recording obtained by the watchdog group documented and shared with Mother Jones. Those 8 key provisions included policies severely restricting mail ballot drop boxes, preventing election officials from sending absentee ballot request forms to voters, making it easier for partisan workers to monitor the polls, preventing the collection of mail ballots, and restricting the ability of counties to accept donations from nonprofit groups seeking to aid in election administration. Read this article. Leaked video, dark money group brags about writing GOP voter suppression bills across the country. This is Ari Berman. Ari Berman has written a series of articles dealing with voter suppression over the past few years. He wrote one in 2016 for thenation.com that dealt with how there are 868 fewer polling places in the 2016 presidential campaign, which was a direct result of Shelby County versus Holder, U.S. Supreme Court case of 2013, which struck down Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, the pre-clearance, dealt with the pre-clearance in the Voting Rights Act. That's because the Shelby County versus Holder 2013 U.S. Supreme Court case, which was a backlash to the re-election of President Barack Obama in 2012. A lot of people didn't see that backlash coming, that white lash. A lot of people didn't see that coming. All right. Okay, be sure to register for the online course that I teach on Saturdays, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, where they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Last Saturday, our guest speaker was Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. When you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, scroll down the page, you'll see the information for our online class. It's a 10-week online course that I teach. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book articles, video clips, book references, etc., guest speakers. It takes you to the next page. Click right here on enroll. It's about 50% off right now. It's regularly $130, on sale $60. As soon as you register, you can start watching the content. You can watch the class we did with Dr. David Imhotep, author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. He also talked about his new book that'll be out in about 2 or 3 weeks. The First Americans Were Africans Revisited. Okay. That's his new book. The First Americans Were Africans Revisited. He shared some information with us. We talked about new archaeological discoveries. So he shared information about his new book also. And this is a picture from when he spoke to my class a few months ago. But this is his new book, The First Americans Were Africans Revisited and Expanded. So that'll be available on Amazon in 2 or 3 weeks. We'll post the link here. Okay. We do the classes live Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the sessions are recorded, so you can go back and watch it over and over again. Okay. If you miss anything, and you'll still have access to the online course even after the course is over with. So we'll post a link here. You can register for that and start watching the content.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting, LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business. Know your numbers and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessTea.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. All right. Lastly, I want to talk about Juneteenth and what took place today. We know the U.S. Senate passed a bill to make Juneteenth a national holiday. Okay. If you had trouble getting in, email me, Denise. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure why you had trouble getting in, but email me. All right. So we know that the U.S. Senate passed a bill to make Juneteenth a national holiday. You've heard me talk about Juneteenth before. We talked about Juneteenth on, I think it was either yesterday or Monday show, because I dealt with some of the history of Juneteenth. Let's look at this article here from the Washington Post. Now it has to go to the House of Representatives. It's expected to pass the House of Representatives as Democrats control the House of Representatives. Then it has to be signed into law by President Joe Biden. Senate passes bill to make Juneteenth Day commemorating the end of slavery a federal holiday. Now, I said that, we have to correct the history, because like last year in 2020, and more attention was given to Juneteenth by mainstream media, partly because of Donald Trump. Some of it had to do with the protests taking place, but partly because of Donald Trump. But we have to correct the history as well, dealing with Juneteenth and the misunderstanding here. So let's look at this article quickly. The Senate on Tuesday unanimously passed a measure that would establish a federal holiday for Juneteenth, the day that marks the end of slavery in Texas. See, that's not exactly accurate. This is one of the things I deal with in my lectures dealing with Juneteenth. That's not exactly accurate, because you had slave owners who kept the word from the delivery of General Order Number 3 that was delivered by Major General Gordon Granger, June 19th, 1865 in Galveston, Texas. You had some slave owners that kept word from them that the Civil War was over and the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, and the slaves were free. Okay. Now this is before the 13th Amendment. It's the 13th Amendment that's ratified December 6, 1865, that actually frees the slaves. Okay. This right here is after the Civil War is over with. When the Emancipation Proclamation is first issued, in January 1st, 1863, that's not what that didn't free the slaves, because it only, if you go to loc.gov and read the Emancipation Proclamation, okay, it tells you that the slaves in the states of rebellion are free, but the slaves that are in border states like Missouri, Maryland, Delaware, and Kentucky, they're still slaves. Okay, and the slaves that it didn't apply to slaves in Union states. It only applied to states in rebellion. Well, the Confederacy set up their own government. They broke away from the Union, set up their own government, set up their own monetary system, set up their own constitution based upon the U.S. Constitution. So whatever laws the Union passed, they had nothing to do with them, because they broke away from your country. You don't have any control over them. But when you go through and read it, you go to Library of Congress website or archives.gov and read the U.S. Constitution. It has all these exceptions in it. And then it says that slaves in territories that were in rebellion but came back under control of the Union, those people were still slaves also. So the Emancipation Proclamation was a military strategy to rob it deprived the Confederacy of its most valuable asset, its enslaved Africans, who they were using to wash clothes and dig ditches and dig trenches and cook food and do all type of work surrounding the war. It was a military strategy. So if we look at this, so I'm for celebrating Juneteenth, but we have to use this opportunity. We have to use this celebration Juneteenth, especially with it becoming a national holiday. We have to use it to teach the correct history, the correct record, to teach the correct history. Okay. Okay. One, slavery didn't end then. Okay. Most of them are going to be freed because of the 13th Amendment. Yes. This is after the war ends, after the Civil War ends, June 19th, after the Civil War ends. Civil War ends basically April 1865. But you're going to have some slave owners in Texas who are going to keep their slaves for another season and keep word away from them of General Order Number 3. So they can get, it's believed, so they can get another season of work out of them. Then you're going to have some Native American nations, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians that all own African slaves. You're going to have some of them that keep their slaves to 1866 and 1867. Because this is one of the stipulations of the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866. Okay. That give land and to the former slaves of these Native American nations, the Black freedmen, gives them citizenship, gives them all type of benefits, things like this. But one of the stipulations is you have to free those slaves. Some of them not going to be free to 1867. So it's not the last day. So the accurate way to say it is that's the day that slaves in Galveston, Texas got word that they were freed because of the Emancipation Proclamation and the war was over. Now, some of them are not going to be set free. Okay. But that's not the day that slavery ended. No, it's not. I mean, it's a nice fairy tale to believe that, but no, that's not historically accurate. So the Senate on Tuesday unanimously passed a measure that would, let me see, let me close this out here. Why is it? Okay, let's try this again. Let me bring this back up. So when we have these celebrations around Juneteenth, it's important for us to deal with the accurate history. Okay. And we have to use Juneteenth. We come together, we have fun, we have family, things like this. It's a time for us to teach our real history, but push this on a national level. And then the next step is to connect Juneteenth with the fight for reparations. That's the next step, to connect Juneteenth with the fight for reparations, repairing the damage. Not a check, because a check ain't going to correct this. Just a check is not going to correct this. If you think a check is going to correct what happened to us, that means you don't understand history. Cash payments can be part of a comprehensive reparations package, just like cash payments were part of the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866. But that wasn't the only thing in there. The bill now heads to the Democratic-led House of Representatives, where it's likely to be approved, although the timing remains uncertain. Unanimous Senate passage was an anticlimactic culmination to a long effort to commemorate Juneteenth, They say the day that enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas received the news on June 19th, 1865, that they had been freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, more than 2 years after Lincoln signed it. Now, see, the other mistake that's made is people say, oh, they got the news 2 years after Lincoln freed the slaves. No, the Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. That's not what freed the slaves. So the fact that they got it June 19th and Lincoln signed it 2 years prior, that ain't the issue. The argument I would make is, wait a second, Civil War is already over. Civil War, for all practical purposes, ended in April when General Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant. But it wasn't, oh, they got the word 2 years later, because especially in Texas, Texas was more far removed from the Civil War. You had slave owners running into Texas, taking their slaves into Texas, because Texas was more far removed from the Civil War and the battles and the major battles in the Civil War, things like that. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, and let me flip over here. He said Juneteenth commemorates the moment some of the last formerly enslaved people in the nation learned they were free. Making Juneteenth a federal holiday is a major step forward to recognize the wrongs of the past, but we must continue to work to ensure equal justice and fulfill the promise of the Emancipation Proclamation and our Constitution. Now, I agree with this. Making Juneteenth a federal holiday is a major step forward to recognize the wrongs of the past. I agree with that. You got to deal with the history. You got to get the history correct. I agree with that. See, a lot of people don't want to talk about slavery. This is an opportunity to have these conversations on a national basis, have historians deal with the real history. But Chuck Schumer went on to say, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer went on to say, but we must continue to work to ensure equal justice and fulfill the promise of the Emancipation Proclamation and the U.S. Constitution. Now, the effort to make Juneteenth a federal holiday gained significant ground in the last Congress, the 116th Congress. But a July 2020 attempt to pass the bill establishing the holiday was foiled by dumbass Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, who also said that he didn't fear the insurrectionists on January 6th. He thought they were, good Americans, what have you. He said he would have been a little scared that they were Black Lives Matter protesters. Yeah, I can guess who he voted for. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, who needs to be voted out of office. It's not clear if he's running for re-election right now, but if he does run, he needs to be voted out of office. He objected to the passage of the Juneteenth bill back in July 2020, and GOP Senate leaders opted not to expend scarce floor time to get around his objection. Now, Senator Ron Johnson objected to the cost of granting federal workers an additional paid holiday, and he proposed amendments that would offset the cost by either removing Columbus Day from the list of paid federal holidays or subtracting a day from federal workers' paid leave. That's why he objected to making Juneteenth a national federal holiday. Let's look at this. He objected to the cost of granting federal workers an additional paid holiday. And he proposed amendments that would offset the cost by either removing Columbus Day from the list or a list of paid federal holidays or subtracting a day from federal workers' paid leave. But you voted for Trump's $1.4 trillion tax bill. His tax. You voted for that. Now, that proposal prompted sharp criticism from conservative commentators such as Mother Tucker, Tuckums, the Tuckster, who last year accused Senator Ron Johnson and another Republican, Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, of trying to cancel Columbus Day. Oh, we can't cancel a holiday dedicated to a white supremacist who inflicted genocide amongst indigenous people, but also who never came to this land we call the United States of America. Why the hell? Why are they celebrating the Columbus Day? Columbus never came to this land. The closest Columbus came to this land mass that we call the United States of America is Cuba, which is 90 miles away. Columbus never came here. That is because of the Italian influence from Italian Americans. So Tuckums is mad about canceling a holiday dedicated to a white supremacist man who inflicted genocide amongst indigenous people and African people, who helped to lay the foundation for slavery, racism, capitalism, and the exploitation of indigenous people. That sounds like Tuckums. In a statement Tuesday, Senator Ron Johnson said that while he remained concerned about the cost, which he pegged at $600 million a year, he did not intend to object again. Yeah, because you know you're going to look like a damn fool. That's why. You know you look like an idiot if you objected. You up here excusing insurrectionists who tried to overthrow the government, but you're going to block a Juneteenth bill. While it still seems strange that having taxpayers provide federal employees paid time off is now required to celebrate the end of slavery, it is clear that there is no appetite in Congress to further discuss the matter. This is what Senator Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin, said. No, what's strange is that a white supremacist like you is a senator. What's strange is that somebody like you keeps putting out these conspiracy theories. What's strange is somebody like you tries to downplay the severity of insurrectionists who try to interrupt and stop a constitutionally mandated joint session of Congress on December 14th to January 6th, actually, on January 6th, to certify the 2020 election results. That's what's strange. This is an example of how elections have consequences. If a reparations bill comes to the U.S. Senate, how do you think Senator Ron Johnson is going to vote on it? I'm just curious. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. No Republicans in the Senate support H.R. 40 or any reparations bill. No Republicans in the House of Representatives support it, not even the black ones. Burgess Owens, brain damaged Burgess Owens, out of Utah, former NFL player. I don't know if he has chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, but he sure does act like it. Then Representative Donalds, who was on Roland Martin Unfiltered a couple of days ago, showing how ignorant he is. All the bills that African Americans are concerned about, he ain't voting for. He said he would vote for Juneteenth, though. He said he wasn't voting for H.R. 40. He said he didn't vote for the American Rescue Plan that will cut childhood poverty in half. That's going to give $4 billion in loan forgiveness to African American farmers, Hispanic farmers, Asian American farmers. It had the stimulus checks. It has money to reopen schools. Oh, the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. He didn't vote for that. No. Just be clear, no Republicans in the House or the Senate voted for the bill. Had money for restaurants to help restaurants recover. It had money for small businesses, all that. He didn't vote for that. He said the bill was garbage. He said he's not voting for H.R. 40. He said he's not voting for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Well, he didn't vote for that. No Republican in the House of Representatives voted for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. He's black, phenotypically. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed the House of Representatives March 3rd, 2021, March 3rd, 2021, by a vote of 220 to 212. 212 Republicans voted no. No Republicans in the House of Representatives voted for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act after talking about how terrible it was what happened to George Floyd. So he said he didn't vote for it because of qualified immunity. Qualified immunity needs to be revoked. That goes back to that comes from the civil rights movement. Qualified immunity that needs to be revoked. Byron Donalds out of Florida. So in Florida, we need to make sure he only serves one term. Vote him out of office. He needs to be voted out of office. I knew it. I listened to him. I knew it. I just found out, but I knew it. I suspected it. I knew it. I can just sit there. I can listen. I said, you know what? I bet. I just found out. I was correct. I knew it. I think it's the same thing with Keisha. Because in that whole interview, Keisha didn't say nothing about a husband. She didn't say nothing about a boyfriend, nothing like that. I think it's the same thing with Keisha. Because I listened to it. I said, I think Keisha's single. I don't think, Keisha ain't saying nothing about a husband, nothing like that. So, yeah, okay, I knew it. So, go watch that interview that Representative Byron Donalds did with Roland Martin. Okay, and you see why. So he ain't voting for HR 40. There's about 188 people who signed on to support HR 40 in the House of Representatives. None of them are Republicans. There's about 188 people. None of them are Republicans. I'm neither a Republican or Democrat, but I sure as hell ain't stupid. I can see who keeps voting against bills that we are for and are beneficial for us, and I can see who keeps supporting the bills. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so with Juneteenth, we have to deal with the correct history. We can celebrate Juneteenth, but see, last year in 2020, I really paid close attention because last year was the first year that you really started seeing all this media coverage. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that people were at home because of COVID, right? So people sitting at home watching television or they're out in the streets protesting. So then the George Floyd protest intersected with Juneteenth, and a lot of people learned about Juneteenth for the first time, you know, because I'm watching some of the news coverage on it. It's like, y'all act like you just discovered Juneteenth, okay? So, but most of the outlets were saying, you know, this is the day slavery ended and things like that. And I'm like, no, that's not true. So we have to be clear on the history. All right, let's go back to this here. So while it still seems okay, this is Ron Johnson. All right, read the rest of these articles here dealing with Juneteenth. Let's see here. Okay, so Wade Henderson, interim president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, applauded the Senate for acting. He said, but holidays alone are not enough. That's true, but Who said they were? Okay. But holidays alone are not enough. There is still much work to be done to build equity, to undo systemic racism, to atone for centuries of brutal treatment of enslaved Africans in America and their descendants. I agree with that. But we have to use that time, Juneteenth, when we have all this media coverage. We have to use that period of time to educate America on history. Because Americans are very ignorant of history, regardless of race. Americans are very ignorant of history. All you got to do is see the fight over critical race theory. So we have to use that time to educate Americans, because the way you treat a people is largely based upon what you think about a people. What you think about a people is largely based upon what you've been taught about a people. What you've been taught about a people is largely based upon what you've read, seen, and heard about a people. So when you're ignorant of a people's history, it's easy to be fed lies about them. Okay? And people's understanding of history impacts the policies they support, the laws they support, who they elect into office. So all of this is connected. All right, so read that article also from Washington Post. Now, other groups supporting the legislation, including the NAACP and the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. Other groups supporting the legislation, the NAACP and the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. NAACP supports H.R. 40 as well. You can Google it. Had somebody post before NAACP is against reparations. Where the hell did you get that from? You could have Googled that and found that out in a minute. The House bill sponsored by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee currently has 166 additional co-sponsors, including 2 Republicans. Oh, they have 2 Republicans now? Because hold on. I think they're talking about I think they're talking about Juneteenth, the Juneteenth bill. They ain't talking about H.R. 40, because H.R. 40 has about 188 co-sponsors, and none of them are Republicans. So the House bill sponsored by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, I think they're talking about the Juneteenth bill. A senior House Democrat aide who spoke on the condition of anonymity to comment on internal discussion said the House leadership is supportive in reviewing the Senate passed bill. Okay, I think I think they're referring to the Juneteenth bill, not H.R. 40, because it's about 188 co-sponsors, and none of them are Republicans for H.R. 40. The black Republicans are not even supporting Juneteenth. So how many white ones you think are going to support that? Okay, so read that one here. And it was at the bottom here. They talked about Sheila Jackson Lee, but that is they're talking about the House. They're talking about the House version of it, of the Juneteenth bill. The House bill sponsored by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas, where Juneteenth started, currently has 166 additional co-sponsors, including 2 Republicans. Okay, Senate passes bill to make Juneteenth Day commemorating the end of slavery a federal holiday. NBC News has this article also, has an article as well dealing with this. All right. Look, we have to get out of here. To support you can support the African History Network. If you like this type of information, find this type of information valuable, you support the African History Network. If you like $, the AHN Show through Cash App, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, and through our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All of my DVD lectures and digital downloads are there. I'm starting to put lectures on flash drives as well, USB flash drives of my lectures. So you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Order my DVD lectures there. We have bundle packs. Have my presentation from 2018 dealing with Juneteenth. My new presentation on Juneteenth, we should have that. That should be on the website probably Wednesday evening or something like that. When we come on the air for Wednesday's show, it'll be up there. You'll be able to purchase it. So $, the TheAHNShow through Cash App, and we have the information here with our actual Cash App account also. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. And I'll be in Atlanta for the Juneteenth Festival, June 18th through the 20th. Visit JuneteenthATL.com. JuneteenthATL.com for more information. The 9th annual Juneteenth parade and festival is free and open to the public. Good family events taking place at Centennial Olympic Park. It starts Friday, 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. to 10 on Friday. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. The parade starts at 12 noon on Auburn Avenue on Saturday. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, these are long days for me. All right. So I'll see you all there. I have a vendor booth all 3 days, and I'm speaking Saturday and Sunday. Should be 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. both days at in the amphitheater. All right, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting, LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business, know your numbers, and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business, encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessTea.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El-Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid El-Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least